illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right? And I look out, right? I look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with...
Ricky Gervais has sparked quite the debate with his outspoken views on immigration policies, specifically what some consider woke approaches. Known for his sharp wit and unapologetic opinions, Gervais raised questions about how these policies balance kindness with practicality. He brought up concerns like fairness and the strain on limited resources, starting a conversation about whether these policies are truly effective. With his trademark sarcasm, Gervais kicked things off with a cheeky line, "I'm woke now," before diving into a humorous story about illegal immigration.
Right, and I pull them into shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just come on, lads. Lads. If I go down there one day and there's no boat, I am absolutely fucking gutted. I just sort of wander into town.
People and casually helping them to shore, delivering it in his classic no-holds-barred style. Mixing edgy humor with serious topics, Gervais had the audience laughing while making them think. In his bit, Gervais describes pulling the boat ashore, only to find out there are no women and children, just a bunch of guys. "Lads, come on," he jokes, as if it's all part of the plan. And in true Gervais fashion, he adds, "If I go down there one day and there's no..."
I stand by the traffic lights and I wait for a big lorry to pull up, right? And I look underneath, and there's a lad sort of clutching like that. And I go, "Where you headed?" And he goes, "Gary Lineker's house." I go, "It's just down there."
I'm absolutely gutted. It's moments like these that only he can turn into a humorous take on an issue that usually sparks heated debates. Ricky Gervais has a way of turning the most unexpected situations into comedy gold. It's that cheeky, unpredictable humor that makes you wonder just how his mind works. Moments like these remind us why he's a master at finding humor in the everyday. You've got to love how effortlessly he keeps the audience hooked, like the time he described standing by traffic lights, waiting for a big lorry to pull up.
They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately, the ones with beards, and they're as good as gold. I love them.
He spots a guy clutching something underneath and shouts, "Hey, where you going?" The guy responds, "Gary Lineker's house." Gervais just casually points, "It's just down there." Classic Jess, taking the most mundane situation and turning it into comedy. Gervais was on fire, roasting the woke crowd and their constantly shifting rules. He hilariously pointed out the absurdity of today's world, where you can supposedly identify as a toaster if you want, but heaven forbid you question someone's self-proclaimed gender. It's classic Gervais, always pushing the boundaries and leaving the...
I talk about AIDS, famine, cancer, the Holocaust, rape, paedophilia. But no, the one thing you mustn't joke about is identity politics. The one thing you should never joke about is the trans issue, right? They just want to be treated equally. I agree. That's why I include them.
In his wake. In one of his bits, Gervais pokes fun at the so-called new women with beards, saying, "You've got to love the new ones. They're great, aren't they? As good as they were." He's never afraid to tackle big issues, like AIDS, famine, and even the Holocaust, yet, oddly enough, those topics don't seem to upset people as much as identity politics does these days. Joking about trans rights? That's apparently the one thing you're not allowed to joke about. Leave it to Gervais to call out the irony with a grin and a sharp punch.
That's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know?
He sums it up perfectly, pointing out that people often confuse the subject of a joke with its actual target. According to him, you can joke about anything, as long as the punchline lands. No topic is off limits, and there are no rules when it comes to comedy. Only Ricky Gervais could drop truth bombs while making you laugh at the same time. Ricky Gervais has never been afraid to say what others might think but won't say. He's unapologetically funny, and that's what makes his comedy so refreshing. He often points out that just because someone says they're offended doesn't mean they're right. What offends one person might not even faze someone else. Gervais made it clear that you can't make everyone happy with comedy. In fact, joking about tough or controversial topics is what makes comedy work. He didn't hold back when talking about how difficult it can still be to be an atheist in some parts of the world. He pointed out that in 13 countries, not believing in God could actually get you sentenced to death. He kept it real, saying that whether you believe in God or not is a personal...
The other side, you know, there's still 13 countries where people are put to death just for being an atheist, and
one should be persecuted for it. And, of course, he couldn't resist poking fun at how even a simple tweet wishing Earth a happy 4.6 billionth birthday managed to set off a storm of outrage. Classic Gervais, mixing sharp truths with humor to leave people thinking and laughing. He also took a jab at himself, admitting, "I got fat because I'm lazy and greedy." No excuses. He hilariously pointed out how people now compliment him on his weight loss, but no one ever dared to mention how bad he looked before. He joked, "Where were the waiters telling me to stop eating?" leaving the audience in stitches. And when it comes to the critics, Gervais was clear, he's never attacked overweight people, he's just stating the obvious. If you eat more calories than you burn, you gain weight. Simple as that. His brutal honesty.
Favourite, because I think the audience was more receptive. I think it took them the first two to sort of get me.
Right.
I think the last time they just thought, why is he saying such horrible things?
Yes. Yeah.
But I think this time they sort of understood they were just gags, you know, or they checked in with security and checked if they got a sense of humour to get in. I don't know.
For some great laughs. Gervais also reflected on how his audiences became more receptive over time. Initially, when he was hosting award shows, people didn't always appreciate his edgy humor. But eventually, they came to see it as just jokes, no harm done. As he put it, hosting isn't his passion, it's more like a casual hobby, like playing golf. His true joy comes from writing and creating TV shows. Ricky Gervais doesn't hold back when
it's not part of, you know, my thing. And win, lose or draw, you know, the next day I'm writing something. That's the fun for me, writing and creating TV shows. But it was just such good fun, you know.
Well, I liked it the year before when people were outraged.
Yeah, of course.
People, they were stunned. They couldn't believe that a guy had the courage and the brain power to stand up in front of famous people and make jokes about them.
I know.
Oh my God!
I know. Like
his thoughts on fame and comedy. He admitted that hosting award shows isn't really his thing, saying, "It's more like golf, some people play for fun, but for me, the real fun is writing and creating TV shows." While the hosting gig was a blast, he made it clear that his true passion lies in making people laugh through his own work. Looking back at his past performances, Ricky couldn't help but laugh at the outrage he stirred up. People were absolutely stunned by his ability to roast celebrities to their faces, something most comedians would shy away from.
He's so famous, he's rich, he's mega rich. I am. I could have this place burned down for a laugh. No, but they say things like, oh, he's an observational comedian. How can he say things that relate to ordinary...
People were absolutely stunned by his ability to roast celebrities to their faces, something most comedians would shy away from. He reveled in the moment, joking about how people couldn't believe someone had the guts to stand up in front of the stars and make jokes about them. He took pride in being the guy bold enough to say what everyone else was thinking, proving once again that he's the king of fearless comedy.
Different, right? And they always say things like, no, you don't have children. I say, no. I say, why don't you have children? Which is a really odd question to ask someone, why don't you have children? As opposed to asking people, why do you have children, right? Let's ask the fat lady in the leggings why she's had 8, shall we? Oh, 9, that one just fell out. That one didn't even touch the sides. Oh.
Ricky Gervais has sparked quite the debate with his outspoken views on immigration policies, specifically what some consider woke approaches. Known for his sharp wit and unapologetic opinions, Gervais raised questions about how these policies balance kindness with practicality. He brought up concerns like fairness and the strain on limited resources, starting a conversation about whether these policies are truly effective. With his trademark sarcasm, Gervais kicked things off with a cheeky line, "I'm woke now," before diving into a humorous story about illegal immigration. He painted a picture of spotting a boat full of people and casually helping them to shore, delivering it in his classic no-holds